Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Pandemonium. Live number 11. We got Ryan Reacts and Capron. How you guys doing tonight?
I am doing splendiferous.
Yeah, Ryan's AFK, but
Yeah.
there's that. O's on. Oh, cool. Do I know you? Hello. Anyone knows him? That was weird. Hey, anyone hear the what the Satanic Temple did in Phoenix, Arizona, with making with like banning public prayer altogether, just making it a moment of silence?
No.
Yeah, apparently the story began with like doing invocations at the public council meetings, and the Satanic Temple came out with like their version of an invocation, and the courts were trying to repeal it or go against it, but they couldn't. So they
Right.
just like banned prayer altogether and made a moment of silence for it instead.
Well, I'm fine with it. I mean, that's one of the big things that we always tell them. Told creationists trying to stick various different Christian dogmas into our schools and stuff. You know, if you got to allow yours, thanks to the First Amendment, you have to allow all others. You know, that's how government works in our country. We're a secular government. That's how we were founded. That's how we were created. And anybody who tries to say we're founded on Christian values, fuck you. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Would you like me to expand on that? I can.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. I hate to do. Not sure if you wanted it because it's kind of a bit of boring history bullshit. But basically, the Declaration of Independence only mentioned God because they were trying to persuade fence-sitting Christians living in the colonies to join into the American Revolution. At the time, divine right was considered a very big thing. Basically, the idea was if God did not want the King of England to be king, God would not allow him to be king, to have become king in the first place. So if you oppose the King of England, you are opposing God, blah, blah, blah. That was basically the logic. So the writers of the Declaration of Independence had to come up with an argument that could convince Christians that revolution was a godly endeavor. And so they just basically decided to say, okay, or pretend that freedom was a Christian value. I mean, as if you've ever seen the stuff involving Glenn Beck, and that they'll always cite the Declaration of Independence as a definition, as a source of freedom and God and blah blah blah. But they never cite the Bible. They never talk about where the Bible is a promoter of the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion.
Right. And in the Declaration of Independence, it says that governments are instituted by man. But yeah, that ceremonially leaves them aside. That's it's a secular America, secular nation.
Right, and I've been following Right Wing Watch, and every time Glenn Beck comes on and talks about it was the Declaration of Independence was written by God and the Constitution was, and I always wish I could be there to ask him then where the fuck did the Articles of Confederation come from? You know, we had a fucking government before the Constitution, and it fucking sucked like hell, so we had to replace it after 10 years. What did God help us? You know, help us pick a fight with the greatest army in the world and then go take a shit for a decade?
Yeah. I'm gonna switch gears here and bring up this news story.
Go for it.
Saudi Arabia's female mascot gets arrested because morality.
All right.
So let's see.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one. That's really bad.
Yeah, okay, so apparently the doll mascot has been arrested by Saudi Arabia's Committee for the Promotion of Vice and the Prevention of Vice for not wearing Islamic dress and disobeying Sharia law. The female doll figures in a floral-length blue and white costume and a hairband, was promoting the opening of a sweet shop in the capital, Riyadh or whatever. Inside the costume, however, was a man who was reportedly making inappropriate gestures to his male mascot companion, according to Global Voices. The committee, known as Religious Police or Muhadween, issued a statement about the incident, saying they received a number of reports about the two figures making unacceptable gestures in front of the shop. We found a man in a female mascot, and after contacting the superintendent in the Kahavi area, we spoke to the man in the doll and made him and his supervisor write a statement that they will not repeat this again. The statement read, "We reminded them about Allah and that what they did was pretending to be women, and that is against Sharia. They expressed remorse and we asked them to accompany us to the station to complete the formalities. The conservative kingdom has long been criticized for limiting women's rights. The Muad'Din enforces a strict dress code in Saudi Arabia for women, and wearing the hijab and full black coat is required in public." What y'all think about that?
Well, the way I look at it is, if it's immoral or against Sharia for a man to act like a woman, then why are you acting like a bitch? That was my initial reaction to hearing that one. I heard recently that someone somewhere came up with an app. I think it was in either Iran or Saudi Arabia that allows people to avoid the religious police. Somehow, I'm not quite sure, but I'm not quite sure what to say beyond that. I mean, it's kind of stuff like this. I mean, I feel like so often in this, when I see stuff, Saudi Arabia is making the case where we should kind of switch our alliances more towards Iran. Their people, from what I understand, are a lot more secular than Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, ideologically, are a lot closer to ISIS and Al Qaeda and all the groups that are fucking up the Middle East. I almost
I mean, I
feel
don't
if
know
there's
necessarily about. I mean, I know we made a deal with them in terms of like nuclear warfare and stuff like this. Well, nuclear arms more or less, but I think they killed some guy for not taking a story from the Quran literal. So I mean, I don't know how secular they are. I mean, it could be limited in certain areas.
Well, I mean, they still got Iran still has a lot of the same shit, but the people in general, from what I've heard, tend to be a lot more. The government is still fucked up, but the people in general tend to be a lot more secular.
I just want to know what these unacceptable gestures actually were. That would be kind of interesting to figure out exactly what they meant by that.
Yeah, that's one of the other things too. Is when it's just vaguely worded, it makes it. Oftentimes, are they really genuinely offended and don't want to talk about it, or is there really nothing and they have to pretend and build it up, like
I mean,
Yeah,
let's
I
let's
think the
let's keep in
latter.
mind let's keep in mind this is the same country that banned chess and Pokemon, so
Yeah, yeah.
really shouldn't be surprised.
I've heard they actually some people talking about they were some Muslim countries banned Pokemon because of its Zionist influence. Because of that heavy Jewish culture in Japan, apparently.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't understand chess. Is it because it promotes I don't know.
I
I
honestly,
don't.
Apparently, it's used for gambling,
well, I
or it's
honestly,
or
honest,
it's or it's the same as gambling.
honestly, though, part of my reason for thinking why Pokemon and chess would take the axe, honestly, as far as if you put aside the posturing, because they both heavily promote strategy and critical thinking skills, which will fuck up a religious culture pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is a good point.
I mean, you don't want. I mean, that's I'm guessing they're they've I can't forget
I mean, the way I was going at was that I mean, I didn't. I mean, chess maybe, but with Pokemon, it's that they already had crazy stuff, influence them already. If they had
yeah.
Pokemon, that'll lead them away anyway. But yeah,
But I mean, those are both very heavy strategy, tactical thinking, critical skill, knowledge thinking games. I'm not sure what else they've banned. It's probably ridiculous. I'm guessing you'll probably find a lot of that stuff in there too. Any sort of science that contradicts the Quran or the Hadith or the Bible or any of the fucking shit is probably banned as well. Anything that might make you even question.
okay, yeah. All right. Let's see. Moving on. Okay, we got Ted Nugent
Oh God.
talking about apparently anti-Semitic rant or something. Dropping the link.
All right.
Okay, gun owners are pressuring the NRA to boot longtime board member Ted Nugent from the organization's leadership ranks after the rock star social media outburst that depicted prominent American Jews as the men and women really behind gun control. Nugent, an outspoken Second Amendment advocate, posted a photo on Facebook earlier this week calling Senator Dianne Feinstein, New York City Mayor Mikey Bloomberg, former Senator Carl Levin, and Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, and among many others, punks who would quote deny us the basic human rights of self-defense and to keep and bear arms, while many of them have paid and hired security. Huh. And basically, the Israeli flag appears over or next to each of the 12 faces in the photo, which is the same that has been shared many times in the white supremacist circles, according to the Anti-Defamation League. Huh. Tusen later posted a photo of Nazis rounding up Jews during the Holocaust and described gun control advocates as soulless sheep to slaughter. Huh. What y'all think about that?
Well, first of all, it's kind of an interesting photo to pick because Nazi gun control was about taking guns away from the Jews so they could be rounded up. Yet then he's saying that the Jews are in American gun control. I don't know. It seems like kind of a interesting choice of uh, picturing to go with that story, I should say. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Sounds kind of KKK-ish now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, it is Ted Nugent. What do you expect?
Yeah. Like the bad kind of Christian. Not true Christian.
Ted
but
Nugent.
yeah. But yeah, he is insane. Crazy hunter guy.
Well, the thing is with Ted Nugent, he kind of is a personification of a joke I make once in a while, that Christianity is America's third most popular religion. Behind number one religion is money, and number two is gun. Because a lot of times, when it comes down to a choice between greed and Christianity, they'll go with the greed. They'll say fuck the Bible. I know it says all these bad things about consuming wealth and acquiring wealth, but I really want that new car, so fuck that. And the other one is Christianity, is guns, because so often, one of the few things that it's consistent on is, the turn the other cheek mantra, and basically don't worry about this life; it's the next life that matters. And it doesn't really say specifically roll over like a bitch, but it implies it pretty heavily in many cases. So the idea of using a gun to defend yourself, kill them before they kill you, is, in my humble opinion, very anti-Christian of a philosophy.
Hey Sidney, what do you think of Ted Nugent's statements on Jews? See you there.
Yeah.
What do you think of Ted Nugent's statements on Jews?
Ted Nugent's statements on Druze?
Like like his statements on Jewish politicians that they control like gun control in America.
Who is Ted Nugent?
He was a singer who was big in the 80s.
Oh, Ted Nugent, the singer.
Cat scratch
Yeah,
fever.
what did he say? What did he say? I'm sorry.
Basically, he heavily insinuated that gun control in America is a Jewish plot.
Huh. Well, it's a very strange plot for the Jews to want to actually plot about.
Yeah.
It's not quite the MO of Jewish plotting.
Well, the thing is, he pointed out to a lot of Jewish Democrats who have pushed the gun control here and there, but I mean, you can find plenty of Christian Democrats who do the same thing, or Christian
plotting.
You can even find, you know, I'm guessing what's his name, the Muslim guy from Minnesota, the Muslim congressman. Doesn't matter. He's probably also in support of gun control to some extent. I mean, it's not just a Jewish thing. It's, I mean, and you can probably, and there's.
What's got nothing to do with it? What's the Second Amendment? Did some rabbi write the Second Amendment? If he did, then yes, it's an absolutely totally Jewish thing.
Well, no, he thinks that, you know, I'm guessing he's probably one of the people in the ballpark who thinks that the Constitution was written and inspired by God. So, you know, the Christian God, the Judeo-Christian values, and if you're opposing that, then you must not be a Christian, and blah blah blah. Fuck that, whatever.
Well, you know, the first thing they do is they make the mistake of choosing the wrong God. You know, the only God that isn't fake amongst all the other gods that everybody else has. So they're already well, they're already just losing. They're lost. They're done. Once they've done that, once they've made their choice as to which God they're going to live their life for, obviously they made the wrong choice, because it's always the other God that we know is they're going to find to be the right one. Us atheists, we know these things, you see. So once they invoke God, I just sort of, you know, but that begs the question, and our premises go out the window. So if Ted Nugent is talking about God, then Ted Nugent is an idiot.
Well, I'm not quite sure.
Okay. We're switching gears. Let's see. We got Pat Robinson. Apparently, women are masochistic sexual deviants. Apparently.
Jamie Meshkoff is the only female currently going through training. She says that while it can be intimidating that so few women make it, it's important for her to pass because she's proven she can handle the job, not because of her gender.
I'm one of the brothers, one of the guys on the team, and I'm going to push shoes just as much as they are. So I don't think of myself like I'm the female getting through. No. I just am a person.
Wow. So hardworking female woman. Okay. So far, so good.
Been here in school trying to make it. You can't think negatively here, and you can't say woe is me, or you can't say, oh my gosh, they're always pinpointing on me. You can't play the me game. You know, everyone's doing the same thing you are, and everyone's, you know, in pain. Everyone's hurting.
The AST program, but for the
what you're trained to do, but a lot of people. Well, unfortunately, Meshkoff wasn't able to complete the training, but a lot of people don't on their first try. And Pat, she told CBN News she plans to give it another shot.
Well, God bless her. I think that's very noble. But let me ask you, you know, I have...
All right, this Pat Robertson part now.
Years ago, was in the Marine Corps, and my occupational specialty is combat industry.
Mm.
That's what I was trained to do.
In layman's terms, that's shooting with a gun.
That's walking in the mud. It's crawling through barbed wire. It is going through occupational arduous things and getting shot by other people.
Can you imagine Pat Robinson shooting somebody?
That's walking in the mud. It's crawling through barbed wire. It is going through occupational arduous things and getting.
You know, if Pat Robertson was in the service, my first question is, which side did he fight for, Union or Confederate?
Yeah, he is old as hell. All right, continue with the with this clip.
Why would a woman want that?
Well, this is a little different.
You know, this is different. I know, but I'm just asking that they're now going to, the feminists have gotten to a point where women are going to be drafted and put into combat units. Why would any woman in her right mind want that?
You know, I don't know, but
Because there are some that exist that want to serve their country. You know, some that aren't you know, fit for the civilian life, that want to serve for their country. It's the biggest socialist program we actually have in this country. So,
My response to it though is, why the fuck would anybody want that? No, if you wanted to serve, you'd be serving. You don't want to necessarily want to be drafted anyways, as he was saying. But I mean, what the goddamn? Some people want to do things that other people can't understand. You know, as you can see by the logo that pops up whenever I talk, some people don't understand that. They get that and make it a big fucking deal, even though it's, you know, just a show. And whatever, but other people have different tastes, opinions, ideas, what they think is right, what they think is noble. The idea that you know, because she's a woman, she can't have those same values. I say, you know, I know I've said it before 1,000 times off air, but fuck Pat Robertson, you have no idea what the goddamn hell you're talking about.
Yeah, and the ridiculous thing about that is, I mean, you know, he's talking about feminists. Feminists don't even care about this. We're talking about like the Tumblr feminists. They care about like, you know, microaggressions and university safe spaces and all this other stuff. They hardly care about real issues like this.
Yeah, anything that's a real issue is generally, in my opinion, it seems like Tumblr feminists don't give a flying fuck about. Or either that, I mean, in some cases they'll even, you know, like excuse shit that they should be fighting, like, you know, like the Arabian men who have been like raping women and the refugees who've been raping women. Oh well, that's just their culture. They don't understand that it's wrong here in the West, and then they.
It's more important. I mean, it's, you know, they live in the first world. You know, they've been pampered their whole lives. I mean, like, you know, they're hardly oppressed. Right. They go to high universities and stuff.
I mean, the best they can do is cite the wage gap, as far as I can tell. But most of that, from when I've heard economists study that extensively, and when they look at it, it's generally
it's generally 75 cents to the dollar.
Well, it's from what I understand, from what they say, it's more generally about with the choices women make. How many vastly more women go into, you know, women's studies and the arts than in STEM fields where the money is made. Men statistically work more hours. Various different other, you know, women are more likely to choose benefits over net income a lot of the times as well.
Sure. I mean, you know, they make choices and stuff like this. Let's continue a little bit more with the clip, and then we'll probably move on.
Women, there are women warriors, you know. And
they are?
Well,
the Amazons?
I understand the spirit of a warrior, you know. And, you know,
it's crazy.
It's a little crazy. I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Well, I mean, but the feminists, a lot of these women are going to wake up and say, our feminist sisters haven't done us any favors. I mean, going into primary training and boot training in the infantry.
Women shouldn't they shouldn't do what they choose to. They should be in the home where they should be, making dinner for their man.
You know, I hate to use an anecdotal example, but I'm going to drop it anyways. Joan of Arc, for fuck's sake. They're
Sydney,
I mean, one of the greatest warriors, military people of her age, one of the most legendary fucking generals, who was just eventually betrayed because of fucking Pat Robertson's goddamn Christian religion bullshit. But I mean, France might not exist as it is today without her leadership.
what about Amelia Earhart? Like she became a legend.
Yeah, I mean, as far as leaders go, yeah, there's I mean, she wasn't military or anything, but Marie Curie, huge step forward in science. I mean, there were so many different things that women can do outside of the fucking home, which I'm guessing he didn't outright say it. I don't think. I didn't catch it. She should be in the home barefoot and pregnant, but I think I kind of got that implication, which might be just putting my bias onto this Robertson, but
I mean, he generally has like those Old Testament viewpoints, so not really surprising.
I mean, I mean, so much of it too is just it's that they're just foisting their opinions onto other people. Well, I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be doing that. Well, she might. So fuck you. If she can pass the test, let her go. Why do you give a flying fuck? I mean, that's all I care about. I don't want them lowering standards so that way women can occasionally pass. But if the women can pass the test as it stands, more power to them. Good luck. That's all I have to say.
Cindy, what do you think of it?
Women's issues?
Well, like Pat Robertson's view that women, he doesn't understand why women would serve in the military, and and that they're crazy for that.
He should just keep his nose out of other people's business is what he should do.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be Christian to keep your nose out of other people's business now, would it?
Well, who gives a shit then? He should change his Christian views, shouldn't he? There's no tolerating this. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, mind your business. Okay, switching gears. What else we got? What else we got in the files? Okay, how about this? Theodore Schubert's atheist book should be outlawed and burned.
What?
Okay, the clip's coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You have these morons, you have idiots out there who think that, oh yes, we should allow freedom of religion because those French guys in the Enlightenment era with the wigs, they said it was great. Voltaire and all these Enlightenment thinkers, Montesquieu and all these schmucks. But to give credit to where credit is due, Montesquieu, while he didn't believe in freedom of religions, he did not believe in the freedom of atheism. And that is where me and Montesquieu would agree. Montesquieu rejected.
Yeah, let's be let's be discriminating bigots to people who don't agree with us. Because that's a good thing. That's nice and Christian.
If you don't have a label we can't hang on your ass, then you're not allowed to be around, I guess.
I think everybody should study the Haitian Revolution. What led to a free Haitian, a free Haiti.
Yeah.
And how the people who dominated Haiti, who came out on top, became that way, and what happened and how it happened. It's very interesting because there you get.
I agree. That's it. That's a good bit of history.
Yeah, 4 distinct groups. It's amazing.
Okay.
All right, Keith, we're going with it. Just hang on.
Okay.
Playing the clip.
Yeah, you give freedom to those who say there is no God. You can find this in his writings. And that, I totally agree with him. Atheism should not be allowed. Richard Dawkins' books, burn them all. Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, all these books, burn them. They shouldn't be allowed. They're absolutely dangerous. Atheism, Islam, Mormonism, Scientology, occultism, basically anything anti-Christian.
Yeah, basically anything that disagrees with my views should
Did he
not
say
not
anything
exist.
anti-Christian?
Yeah.
Burn everything anti-Christian. Fuck you,
by the way, when
1200s.
he was talking about things anti-Christian, he mentioned Islam. Does he know how much the Quran actually praises the works of the Bible, basically?
Well, there are certain parts
I
where
mean,
Christians are unbelievers.
they're theological cousins, so obviously, yeah, they build off of each other.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, Muhammad's point of view was basically his problem with the Jews is they didn't accept Christ as a prophet, and their prophet with Christians is they kind of rejected the original Testament with the new values that came in. He basically felt people should follow the book beginning to end, but the Bible as far as
He played in the same characters, Adam, Moses, Jesus, Abraham, all of them, I mean, he just carried his like Arabic tradition, like in that regard.
Well, the thing is,
this guy.
Go ahead.
But real quick, the ironic thing. This guy's actually a former Muslim, so he just shifted over and become
Who?
This Theodore Schubert guy, this Christian who's very far right wing.
Schubert.
Very crazy.
No, he's a Druze, isn't he, or something?
No. Okay, he was a former Muslim and now he converted to Christianity.
Okay. Yes. He has some crazy shit on his website.
I will give him credit though for once he's not talking about gay men, which
Yeah, that's his trademark.
The slaughter of Christians, and like he really puts up a, and he might be right in presenting the slaughter of Christians in the Islamic State the way he does, but nobody's fucking listening to him.
I mean, he's going after everyone in this, though. I mean, he's crazy. It's everything that apparently it's anti-Christian to him.
Well, the thing is, anytime you get someone who argues like this, regardless of the faith, I immediately jump to the conclusion that this guy is an insecure piece of shit who doesn't believe his beliefs can stand on their own.
Cool.
I think Schubert's one of them. I think he knows deep down in his heart that his religion is bunk and bullshit and doesn't stand up to scrutiny. That's why he has to kill all other ideas.
Burn, baby, burn them books. Burn them books.
Okay, keep going with this.
Should not be allowed in society. It's dangerous. It's demonic. And look what it leads to. The guy wants to shoot up a church in Detroit. That's what freedom of religion leads to. Insane clown posse, devil worshippers, stabbing people, kidnapping children, raping women. That's what that religion leads to. Atheism, social Darwinism, abortion. It influenced Hitler. It influenced the commies. That's what...
all of that is so wrong.
Well, first of all, I have to respond, down with the clown, down with the clown, down with the clown till I'm dead in the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what about that Planned Parenthood terrorist? Wasn't he a warrior for the little babies, good Christian guy?
He wasn't a terrorist. He was a freedom fighter.
How about all those fucks in the 90s?
He was fighting for the freedom of abortion, of unborn, freedom for the rights of the unborn. That's what he was fighting for.
Or abortion clinic bombers or shooters. The fuck who tried to bomb the the Atlanta Olympics over abortion.
Yeah.
That
wasn't the best he could do.
The Lord's Resistance Army. Are you familiar with them?
Yes, in Africa.
The terrorist militant group in Africa.
Yeah.
All Christians, and I'm guessing those are probably the guys Schubert would like to pony up.
Those are the guys that have child soldiers, right?
Yep. I think I heard somewhere that they feed them up on cocaine laced with gunpowder or something because it provides a reaction in their body, so it makes them aggressive. an inability to sleep, which makes them constantly alert and
Well,
ready to
also,
kill.
well, they don't get hungry, so you save on food bills that way too.
Yep. Those guys are fucking horrific, and they are good, God-fearing Christians of the type that I'm guessing Shubat would adore.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Unless, well, I don't know. I was gonna say they are black, so maybe not. I don't know Shubat's opinion on that, but I'm not gonna assume he's racist until I got evidence for that.
Shubat? Well, I think Shubat is Christian, therefore he's racist. There you go.
Well, the thing is with
Ipso facto or whatever the fuck.
well, the thing is with as the Tower of Babel is kind of where racism started as far as the biblical worldview. So, someone could make a biblical argument that it is their Christian duty to be racist and prejudiced.
Well, it's not their Christian duty. It's the Christian duty as much as it is the Mohammedans' Islamic duty, and the
don't mix the
and
tribes.
the Jews' duty to the Torah, and the Sikhs' duty to the whatever guru. I mean, everybody's a fucking racist. If you don't integrate it into the melting pot, you're racist.
I mean, see, that's why I'm a humanist. I don't even see race or gender or anything like that. You know, just keep with that progressive thought.
Yeah.
Just try to focus on the United States and all that good stuff. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Jeff is here. That means maybe I won't have to do monologues on all these issues anymore.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, Mr. Keller.
Hello, Sid. Long time no see. Well, I guess I saw you the other night, but
Exactly.
didn't see you for very long, I don't think.
No, I saw you first, that's why.
Yeah, that's right. How's it going?
Alright. Well,
These guys are putting me through an interrogation like I can't believe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's horrible.
What are we interrogating about?
I'm not sure. I'm losing.
Right now it's Theodore Schumann.
Yeah,
somebody I've never heard of.
We're off by now. We're off that by now. We got a new story. Monster Energy drink almost killed us. Lawsuit claims. Okay, consumers say the company should have warned them that the caffeine torpedoes will allegedly give them heart attacks, strokes, and kidney failure. The company, let's see. Yeah, the company says it's just a coincidence. Robert Grimm was driving to work when the nausea set in as his vision blurred. The Arizona resident pulled over to the side of the road and called in sick. His symptoms worsened at home, he said. The 20-something rushed to the emergency room that day in December of 2014 and would soon learn that he had stage 4 kidney disease. Court's papers charge. Grimm claimed he downed a can of Monster Energy before leaving the house, just as he always did for the last 10 years, until his diagnosis. Grimm puzzled 4 of the energy drinks a day are the caffeine-filled equivalent of 18 12-ounce cans of Coca-Cola, according to a new lawsuit filed against the beverage maker. Now he's on dialysis and awaiting a kidney transplant, according to the lawsuit. Grimm was one of the 5 people to file lawsuits against Monster Beverage Corporation this month, alleging irreversible and near-fatal health problems they claim were caused by long-term use of the energy drink. The civil suit alleged habitual drinkers of the caffeine bomb suffered heart attacks, strokes, and renal failure, among other health concerns. It alleges Monster gets guilty of negligence, defective design, failure to warn of risks associated with the drink, and other potential violations. And the attorneys say energy drinks like Monster are as bad for young people as cigarettes. So, what do you guys think?
That's fantasy. That's fantasy fiction, surely.
Yeah, I don't know if those claims are accurate or not. I mean, if they are.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. I mean, I don't know if you can see on my camera, I kind of got a can right here. If you can't, this is red and gold because I'm drinking caffeine now. The reason for that is because I have become aware of the effects of caffeine abuse in my lifetime. I tend to side with Monster on this. Now, if they had done like the tobacco companies and released study after study saying, "Hey, our shit is actually healthy. It's not bad for you at all. You can do it without any consequence," then sure, I'd say that they have a claim here. But this Monster never claimed to be a fucking health drink.
Right.
They never claimed to be healthy. It's basically here's a huge jolt of energy. That's all they've ever advertised, as far as I'm aware. So I'm kind of like,
remember Jolt in the '80s? That was the first.
Jolt, yeah.
I guess I'm kind of saying, at this point you should have assumed it wasn't healthy to some extent. I mean,
It's like, I'm going to sue McDonald's because they clogged up my arteries over the years.
Right. Yeah, I thought McDonald's was perfectly healthy until I started feeling bad.
Yeah, until I started getting these headaches and losing balance.
Gaining weight.
And my left hand started to shake a little. Definitely.
No, I mean, that seems to be like an
food.
empirical question. I mean, if they knew that their product was harmful and they sold it, then they should be liable. But if
come on, then
but it's it's about
everything you
context.
buy, even the deli meats,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I agree.
I mean, I can understand. I can see as kind of a thing maybe going forward, maybe some sort of fine print, caffeine overdose or consuming too much caffeine can result in health problems if you don't aware. I can understand putting that on maybe on the cans from here on out, but
or
honestly,
just say that it has caffeine in it and let people do their own research.
Right. but more than anything,
Exactly.
I don't think they have much of a claim on this video. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not as big of a libertarian as Jeff is, but I think I'm kind of in agreement with him on this case.
Yeah, I mean, I think if somebody knowingly poisons you, or they defraud you, or they lace their product with something, they're obviously that's very criminal. But if the product is a caffeine product and you divulge that it has caffeine in it, then
well, I mean, everything in the U.S. is required to list the ingredients on it. So I mean, if you look at that, you can definitely see there's caffeine.
What are you guys on now?
Oh, I have an announcement to make. In my neighborhood, there have been 2 churches which have been torn down and made, and the space that's been left has been converted into market rental housing. That's 2 churches in just a span of a few blocks in my very, very, very liberal neighborhood. There's a couple left. One's a Roman Catholic, and one's I don't know, some kind of a united church of some sort, of a diocese of who knows what.
There's some going on. I can't remember what it is, but apparently some hardcore anti-gay church had to shut down, and they're one of the groups trying to purchase it is actually a homosexual lobby group. I can't remember what their name was, but the priest is apparently very incensed at the idea that their former church could be taken over by part of the gay agenda.
Well, then he better get his membership up and getting them to pay some dues so he can fight. But anyway,
Sid, so those churches in your neighborhood, would those changeovers be? Would you attribute that to economic reality or low attendance, or is it zoning, or what is happening?
Okay, well, the first one, the one what was just kitty corner to where I lived, so I watched the whole thing. I've been living here for almost 20 years, so I've been watching this church. Now, what it is was it a piece of land where they built this church, and half of the church was kind of the ceiling of an underground parking, and it was a wood frame building. And the kind of activities that happened at this church weren't much all the time that I've been living here. couple of choirs and some kind of a service on the weekends or whatever, but not too many people.
So not well attended.
Not well attended, and the building itself it was so badly designed in 1906 that it must have been just quickly erected, badly designed, and it was falling apart. The actual hall, the prayer hall with the steeple and everything was just falling apart. So there was a whole big neighborhood, petition to save it, and of course that failed. And right now there's a 22-story building there with market rental seats. Beautiful. The other one was a Central Presbyterian Church, a Galilee Korean Presbyterian Church. Yeah. So that one was just actually a part of a building which was obviously applied to be rezoned for housing, and that's going to be, and it's already done. They've already demolished the whole thing. I walked by there today.
Was that like a mega church?
No. It was actually by day it was a Montessori school, and then on Sundays it was a church, something like that.
Well, the Montessori school is worthwhile.
Yeah, but it was Korean, and it was obviously Christian, and there's just not too many about.
I ask because a lot of the Korean churches around here are mega churches.
Oh, that's there, not here.
Yeah.
No, not in my neighborhood. My neighborhood is as far it's socially libertarian as you can get.
Yeah. Still a lot of religious people around here.
Yeah. All right, switching gears. New story. We got. This is a good one. Millionaires are qualifying for Medicaid under Obamacare. That's real nice.
You know what? That happens in Canada all the time. Under Obamacare, or at least under the Medicare, everybody pays the same amount. Let's say it's I don't know, $70 a month. If you make if you're a single person and you that's what you are, you pay $70 a month. If you're a family, you pay, I don't know, 140. And no matter who you are, that's what you pay. So single payer, it works fine. It doesn't matter that people are billionaires and have to pay and do their 70. You know what? They give back in other ways. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the rich pay more taxes. Why shouldn't they get more?
Exactly. Don't worry about it. Sour grapes.
I mean, you might as well. Well, hold on. Let me just read the article.
Right, but sour grapes.
Millionaires living in states that expanded Medicare are benefiting from the government-sponsored health insurance, and taxpayers are footing the bill for it. In states that expanded Medicaid, people with high net worths and low monthly incomes qualify for Medicaid because of loosened eligibility requirements implemented under Obamacare. And in rural states like Iowa, Americans whom many would consider wealthy are taking advantage of this loophole and enrolling in coverage paid by taxpayers. Jesse Patton, an insurance broker living in Iowa, has had clients with net worths ranging from $2 million to $5 million, which often stem from farmland or assets from divorce settlements. And those clients, he said, quote, are enrolled in Medicaid in expansion states like Iowa. It was designed to help the lower income population.
Ultimately, states don't pay taxes. Individuals pay taxes.
Have no idea how to run things. This is what we do.
Well, wealthy people pay more taxes than
Forget about the taxes. But
it doesn't matter what states they live in, and states do not pay taxes. Only people
but at the same time, I mean, they do have like loopholes that could generally more tend to lower, their them paying expenses.
Well,
they
good for them. Loopholes are great. We don't want to close them.
I mean, these are loopholes that don't exist for working class and middle class people, though.
But they pay less taxes than rich people, in absolute terms. Oh, the wealthy.
I mean, it generally tends to be. It generally tends to be like,
It's an
I mean, it
80-20
even that
thing.
when. I
Listen,
mean, when you're
this is
doing
the way
invocation,
it
hold on,
works in
hold
In
on,
Canada.
hold on.
absolute numbers, the wealthy people pay way more taxes than.
This is the way it works here.
I
It's a
mean,
single, it's a user pay system, right? It's a single, whatever they call it. Everybody, you got to pay your medical plan bill every month, right? If you can't afford to pay your medical plan bill, then the government does pay for it. However,
Other people pay for it,
the government pays for it. The taxpayer
but
pays for
they
it.
they
However,
tax other people and they pay for it.
yes, of course. But however, everybody else gets a bill and they have to pay it. Now, if they don't pay their bill, they get referred to the bill collector for the provincial government. If they then don't pay their bill, they get referred to the bill collector of called the Canada Revenue Agency. These guys come after you for your money. It's not like it's free, and if you don't pay your bill, oh ha ha ha. No, not at all. You pay your bill, and if you don't pay your bill, it's treated like every other collectible debt.
Any other service?
Any other service, anything else, credit card, your rented furniture, God knows what, everything.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about like a shareholder or something like this, I mean, sure, it evens out with like the stock dividends and the high executive salaries, but there's a lot of tax tricks, that executives have, like unlimited use of a company card, counting it as a business expense without counting it to the taxable compensation. I mean, like that's something that
I
people
hate
who
tax.
earn hourly don't get.
Well,
Uh,
not to mention, I think the capital gains rate is 15%, and so much of the
Dumb,
upper.
dumb, dumb. I think tax should just be 15%, say sales tax. That's it. Done. Nothing else.
I would tend to agree with that, so long as you also included like Wall Street trading and stuff like that on there.
I think taxes should be voluntary. If you think you're getting your money's worth, then you should pay
Yeah, but
into it.
then you pay your taxes afterwards, right?
No. Well,
It's
if
not
I
a
want
pay
to,
as
if
you
no,
go.
if I want to be part of like some socialized medicine scheme, then that's a condition that I have to pay for it in
Why
advance. Then I
socialized
would pay for it.
bad thing, isn't it? Isn't it a right? Don't you think socialized medicine is a right
Of course
of
not. No,
every single citizen?
you do not have the right to the labor or the product of somebody else. That's slavery.
You do
Whoa,
not have.
whoa,
You
whoa,
do
whoa,
not.
whoa,
You do.
whoa, whoa, whoa! What do you mean you don't have the right to who's the slave?
I don't have well the provider is or the person who
The
has to
doctor,
pay for it.
the doctor is the slave.
The doctor can be directly enslaved or indirectly
Okay, all
enslaved.
right, all
So
right, all right, all right. Okay, the
so
doctor is the
no
slave.
no. I
How
mean
is the doctor a slave?
no. If you obscure these things by saying we're going to tax people, we're a society, and all this stuff, but let's say we're desert doctor there, and I'm a non-doctor, and I have a right to health care. So I if I have a right to health care, I get to demand of this doctor that he provide me with
Oh,
those
you have no idea what
services.
you're talking about. You have no idea what you're
Well,
talking about.
well,
Sorry,
your lack of
I
imagination
live in
is
this
not is not.
in the social medicine or this whatever you call it. I live in it, and it's
Well,
nothing.
I'm trying to simplify it. No. You do not have a right to the goods and services of other people. So if you have a right, let's say, to your life, and that you have a right to not be killed, and that does not place a positive obligation on somebody else. But if I say I have a right to, I don't know, what do you do for a living, or what did you do, Sid? If I have a right to computer repair, that means I get to demand of one of my fellow citizens that they have to fix my computer. And if we have this tax situation that obscures all of that, well, then that just muddies the water.
Right,
But
but
we're still demanding
I think you're using
positive
this
goods
word
from other
right.
people.
You're using
No,
this word right as if it's
no,
as if you have
you
a
brought it
right
up.
to use the word right. You
No,
don't.
you brought it up.
I brought up the fact that
you said you have a right to health
a
care.
human being has the right to.
Here's the problem. Here's the
hold on a
problem with
second. The
this.
human being has a right to food and to shelter and to medical care.
But you don't have the right to demand that of other people. You don't have the right to demand. If you take somebody else's food by force, you're stealing from them.
No, but
absolutely. We'll talk about that next.
And if you hire the government to do that, you're just hiring the government to steal it for you.
Okay, I gotta step away from the keyboard for a while.
Hey, I got
5 minutes.
I got to mute you both real quick. Okay, Ryan React's trying to say something.
I can't really understand the slavery analogy because the person providing the service or the good gets paid for the service or goods that they're provided, and a lot of times they can choose the rates. When it comes to stuff like in this country, when it was like the cakes company that wouldn't bake for a gay wedding, all the government asked them is to do the same service at the same price that you do for everybody else. And
yeah, so it's all about like promoting freedom and all that. At least for citizens.
It's the right of the person to refuse services to the right of the person requesting the same service as anybody else. This is not a case where it's just the rights. It's one person's right versus another. Where do you come out on top? Where do you who do you go with? Rights often conflict with the rights of other people. My right to live infers with your theoretical right to kill me. I'm not saying you should have that right. I'm not fighting for it. I'm just saying theoretically there is no concrete reason why your right to kill me doesn't exist. You can unmute them now.
Yeah, that and just going back with the socialized medicine thing. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, you know, a lot of the Scandinavian countries have it as well as some other European countries like France and stuff like this. They're working pretty well.
And the
they're
thing,
doing fine.
I would also add that if you do not believe people have the right to things required to live, you cannot feel that they have a right to life. If you do not believe people have a right to food, shelter, clothing, the things we're humans are required to actually have to survive, I cannot see how you say that people have a right to live.
Okay, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
So, in rights theory, there's this concept of a positive right and a negative right. So, what I would hold is that the only rights that are really valued, are really relevant or just, are negative rights. So, you have a right to life, which can be expressed positively, but it's really a right not to be killed. It doesn't mean that you have the right to be kept alive, to demand of other people shelter, health care, etc. It means that you have the right not to be killed. As soon as you say that you have positive rights, the rights to things, to stuff that other people produce, yes, you are. I would defend the use of enslaving people. Now, it's a matter of degree, of course, in a complex society. So, yes, doctors do get compensated, but they do so because the demand on their labor is done by proxy. So you demand of other taxpayers that they pay for your health, which is, in effect, a demand on their labor. And you can make utilitarian arguments that it's better overall for everybody and stuff like this, but the nature of it still is you're claiming the right to use force, if necessary, by the government to get the kinds of goods and services that you think you need. And I don't disagree that those aren't important things and that those are not good things to have, but that I'm arguing that taking them by force, whether you're using the government or doing so directly, is a violation of people's rights, their sovereignty, and to a great degree, this is a very soft form of slavery.
So I do not have a right to food.
You do not have a right to
employee
food.
tax
That's
withholding?
correct. You don't have a right to it. You have a right to work to get your own food and stuff like that, but you don't have the right to take other people's food.
What if I have the money to buy food and nobody's willing to sell it to me?
Then you have to create your own food.
What if I do not have property to grow it on?
Well, you either have to trade with other people, or yes, you will go hungry.
Everyone decides I'm an evil, horrible atheist, and they don't want to give me food because of that. They prefer I starve.
I don't think you could probably come up with a historical example of that, but theoretically.
Are you familiar with Catholic excommunication back in the Dark Ages?
Yes, they use the government to enforce that, which I'm against. No, people will find it in their self-interest to trade with you. If you produce something of value, you can trade for food. So you have a right. Yes, you can talk about all of these horrible examples historically. All have to do with people being in cahoots with governments and.
Whether or not the government is involved is irrelevant to whether or not they'll actually trade.
But no, you do not have a right to somebody else's food. No, you don't. You can't steal their food because you have a right to.
I'm not stealing them. I'm giving them money in exchange for food, which they.
You're stealing. No, you're stealing it if they don't want to accept your money for their food.
To use a better example, it's using resources to benefit people who can't get food. You know, like homeless shelters and.
You don't have a right to anything that you don't honestly produce yourself or trade for voluntarily.
Yeah, but what if we're talking about like trying to maintain like not like overcome economic inequalities as well as just political.
Economic inequalities are a fact of life. Some people are more productive than other people, and some people get more than other people, and some people, don't do so well.
And what if you're in a situation where people don't allow you to produce, like back in the 40s and 30s, where you had no Irish need apply signs in a lot of establishments, and you live in a place where basically they don't do business with anybody who's Irish.
Then the Irish need to do business among themselves.
So you are okay with businesses discriminating based on...
I didn't say I was okay with that, but I said that no, you don't have nobody is obligated to do business with you, and if you are around people who don't want to do business with you, then you need to find people who will do business with you.
I'm not really seeing the distinction. It seems like you're okay with it, but you're not okay with it.
I'm not okay with it in terms of my personal tastes. I don't. Most of those, most discrimination, Jim Crow, was all enforced by government. Would not be sustainable in a private system because whenever you exclude people from your marketplace, very few people, by the way, refused to sell stuff to Irish people. They were just ostracized socially, unfortunately, as many immigrants have been. I'm not fine with that at all. I think it's irrational. I think the free market actually punishes people for doing that by depriving them of market share. But the original question was, do you have a right to goods and services that other people produce? And I would say no. And they can withhold. They can decide not to trade with you for any number of reasons, whether good or bad. But it doesn't change that basic.
Yeah, but Jeff, I mean that's the reason why you got government, because you can take your grievances to like to like that body that governs that law, and you could.
Well, actually, government enforced Jim Crow laws.
You could, yeah, but I mean that's the point though. They ultimately got reformed when people got involved. That's sort of that's sort of the thing. I mean. Well, I mean, MLK was fine with socialism. So was Malcolm X. I mean, those were prominent leaders. But I mean, the point is, get like having a good hybrid system that cares for and benefits for all its citizens. not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, that's actually kind of good. Now, granted, we've always had something of a centrist history in this country. I mean, you look at other countries. They have things that are generally more center left. Things like free healthcare, universal education. Good public pension plans, awesome labor
Well, it's
unions.
not free. It
I
comes
mean,
from other people. And,
well, sure. I mean, but the
I think
reason
you're
is,
sort of changing the topic a little bit.
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, but I mean, I think it's on topic here, but the point is, I mean, these things are found to be sustainable, and help, like, caring about people, like, on that level.
Well, I'm not making a utilitarian argument. I think maybe a lot of the things that you say are true in terms of numbers, but the original statement made by Sid, who has left, was that people have a right to
I'm here.
stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you left. That people have a right to stuff, and the problem with that is that you're claiming a right on the labor of somebody else.
I wouldn't say that's
no,
what
hold on,
he's
let me
saying.
finish.
Okay.
No, so you're claiming you have a right on stuff that has to be produced by others, and by logical extension, you're claiming that you have a right to their labor. You have a right to demand those things, and if you have a right to demand those things, you have a right to demand that certain people produce them or pay for them. And when you do so, you are subjugating somebody else. And we can talk about the tax code and society and how things are nice and how we want to have equal results and this and that, but it doesn't change the very nature of that moral claim.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Well, it's pretty simple. Look, this is the way it works. When you go to medical school to become a doctor or a nurse or somebody who works in the medical field, you take some kind of an oath to help these people. Like the doctors, their first instinct when they see injury is to help these people. Okay,
that's fine.
So,
that's fine.
So you're not infringing on their right to offer. They don't have to refuse you services because of their right not to have to give you service. That's ridiculous. They all want to give you services. They all want.
Then we don't need socialized medicine. They all want to give us those services anyway, right?
Well, that's what they're taught to do. They go through 7 years of medicine.
So then we don't need socialized medicine. You're saying?
Because
they'll just help you out anyway.
Just fine.
No, you're saying you have a right to it. Now they're saying they're generous and they're going to do these things, which is great. I applaud that, but that's not the same thing. If I say that I want to give to charity, that doesn't mean, like if I want to give to homeless people, that doesn't mean that homeless people have a right to come in and take what they want from me. That just means I've decided I'm going to do that, and that's part of my code of ethics. That's not the same thing.
You're a greedy asshole.
No,
you're the one that's demanding free stuff. I'm not.
Who said anything about free?
He's a libertarian.
Exactly.
You're the one that's demanding free healthcare. Why am I greedy? I pay for my health.
I thought I mentioned $70 a month out of the blue. So out of just.
No, you're the one that wants all the free stuff. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The greedy of the two of us.
Well, I mean, don't you want a healthier society? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
nothing
of course I do.
Nothing in life is free. Nothing.
Except what Sid wants. Except
no, I'm sorry. If I own a business, right, Jeff? Am I giving you money for free? Are you earning that money?
If you own a business, if you own a business, no. What does that have to do with me?
Well, I'm paying your fucking wages, right?
Oh, if I work for you, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Well, I'm paying your wages.
No, that's a trade. That's a trade situation. That's a contract.
No. And you got a social contract with the rest of the fucking people.
No, there's no social contract.
Yes,
there
is. Okay, then. So you're saying we should enact slavery again?
Well, if you.
I know you might laugh. I'm not being funny, but you did.
I don't know how you get there. So no, there's no such thing as a social contract. There's
Yes, but that's why we don't have slavery anymore. You are aware of that, right? We changed the law because we didn't think that was good for people to own other human beings as commodities.
Right.
You do understand that, right?
I agree that, and I'm arguing that now. Sid's claiming that he has the right to demand health care from his fellow citizens, and I'm saying no, that's not cool either, because we don't like slavery.
Look, Jeff, it's not a demand. What it is that people recognize.
A right is a demand.
In societies in the West, that looking after fellow human beings actually costs less than it would on the toll of humanity in the civil society. You would have hundreds of millions of people dying every day on the streets of your communities if we didn't look after these people. Now, is that an excuse for them not to get a job? Fuck no. No, it's not. But some people are incapable of getting these jobs. Some people have shitty lives, right? So what we do as a society is go, well, okay, there's a minority, literally a minority of the human race who are incapable of doing what most human beings want to do, which is buy and sell goods, go to work, come home, buy a house, and all that other shit. There's a few people who are not capable, Jeff. And yes, I'm sorry, we do have to pay taxes in order to look after these.
I want them to be more capable. I want healthcare to be affordable, and it's not if you have these government boondoggles. I want it to be accessible and affordable, and it's not accessible when you ration it under a state system.
No, because you still have to pay tax or pay somebody, right? A medium of exchange.
Taxes are the prices of a good civilization.
Again, I say if that system works for you and you think it's a good system, that's fine. Just let people not pay into it if they don't want to, and let them opt out of it.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
These millionaires from that previous story seem to agree.
You need healthy young people who don't need those services,
and you have
for old people who do need those services.
Yeah, and you have corporate. So you want to let old people die because you don't want to try and help old people survive.
No, I just want people for it to be voluntary. So if this system works, that's great. Try it out, but don't make everybody.
Jeff, if you go through your whole life from the time you're 18 and you pay into the user pay every single month, your whole life, and you hit the age of 59, 60, 61, and all of a sudden, bang, you're hit with life's problems and health problems, and
what if you
find yourself going to the doctor like once a week, and every time you go, they find a different problem, and then you got to get treated, and all of a sudden you think, oh, thank goodness, I paid all my dues over the years.
Sure, yeah.
Well,
yeah. All right, we're gonna.
Unfortunately,
hold on. It's been good, but we're gonna take it off air. All right, this has been Pandemonium Live, episode 11. You have to leave the room, but we'll take it off air.
I've only just got here, but thanks anyway for hosting the hangout.
Oh yeah, of course. All right, I'm getting out there. Ooh, and later.
Ooh.